The following podcast contains language and themes some people may find offensive. It also contains impressions. Many, many impressions. Enjoy!
Hello and welcome to That Was the Week That Was it? The podcast that asked the guests how their week was last week. And yes, that premise did indeed start out as a joke. I'm Alex Sievewright, and joining me for this episode is not my usual comedy wife, Kate O'Connor. It's my actual real-life wife, Emmy Webber. Hello, Emmy.
Hello. I think people may notice I didn't take your surname.
No, you did not. No.
I didn't want it.
No, I don't blame you. It's too much of a mouthful, it really is. That's how it goes, isn't it? So, Emmy, how was your week? I can't really ask you how your week was last week. That makes me seem really insensitive. You're my wife. Are we going by an old script?
I don't even remember.
Oh.
So that's helpful. Yep. Ask the person with memory issues how their week was. No.
Yeah.
No.
How are the kids?
Which kids?
Just any. That's the banter over it. Okay, so joining us for this episode is a voice actor and impressionist who has done everything from Star Wars to Postman Pat. It's Lewis Macleod. Hello, Lewis.
Hello.
How are you, my dear?
Well, as the saying goes in Scotland, any better I couldn't stand it. But believe
good.
that, you believe anything.
That's great.
No, yes, I'm all right, actually. Yeah, for once up here in bonny Scotland, the weather's been really rather nice.
It's been a mixed bag down in London. I don't know how it's been in Scotland.
Well, it's normally when the sun comes out, people think it's a UFO and jump off buildings. But no, it's been all right. I mean, the last couple of weeks, last summer, it sort of, again, this year, like last year, has gone by in a whip. But the weather last year was just atrocious. And it was, having been based in London for almost 30 years and coming up to Scotland when and how I could, to have the weather be so miserable as well as being in lockdown was just, warm, muggy, but just our kitchen flooded. It was like, it was so bad. And the day we went, we had to go to France, and then the day we left, I remember being on top of the roof trying to divert water that was just cascading into the house through all sorts of holes that we found were like 200 years old under the ground. The whole house is like a well. So we sort of drove off going, well, we'll come back, we'll probably open the door and there'll just be that deluge cover us. But we were all right. And but yeah, it's been lovely. The weather up here just now has been really nice, and just enjoying the few rays that we can get in between what we've got,
Well, that's it. So we've obviously known each other for a long time now, many years. Yeah. I mean, we first met in 2005. We did that course together, didn't we?
Yes. Well, the thing is, building 80s calculators, it's trying to find the old architecture, the Vero board. It's not like something you can't go into Lidl and say, have you got any Vero board?
No.
And solder is quite hard to get a hold of as well, I found. Did you not find that difficult?
I did, yeah. Actually, the last solder I got was from a Lidl, which was ironic. But it was on offer, the middle bit they have. Yeah. But yeah, it's I found it a fascinating course. I mean, I did spend most of the time just writing boobies, because you do that, don't you, with a calculator?
Well, you do. You sort of 1134 shell. I didn't really get beyond that, actually. I tried other permutations, and it just really was. Did
you not do shell oil?
Oh, see, that would be like that calculator that Casio made when you were actually quite good at maths. It had cos, tan, cosine.
I don't remember
coffee. That. All the little buttons.
I had one of those.
Did you? Oh, Emmy, you must have been so brainy then. Did you get lots of subjects?
I didn't understand it.
Right, good.
I had one, and it was for show.
Oh, it was for show?
Yeah.
Well, they were quite elegant-looking things, weren't they? They sort of lifted up at the... I remember Bang & Olufsen. I used to call Bang & Olufsen. Very expensive stereos. They had a kind of remote control that was like a laptop.
Yeah.
And it didn't really do much except, stop, forward, rewind, eject. But it looked amazing. Well, calculators looked great on your desk. You didn't have any space to write anything down, but this thing made you look like... Oh, it was a bit of a status symbol for kids, really, wasn't it? It was like sort of, I've got the cosine tan.
Yeah, you knew I was in the top set maths because I had one of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I failed arithmetic twice, which is really grim. I mean, I nearly got there on the first attempt, and the second attempt, I was just, I just don't like this.
I was really hoping that was just one attempt, but you're just so bad.
No,
You remember it twice.
I mean, it's not, I don't know what it was. I thought I only quite really enjoy adding up and multiplying. The subtraction, long division bit really just didn't, and fractions, yuck.
In reality, Lewis failed it 3 times. He just,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a great course. We got the calculators made.
We got them made.
Yeah, and everyone was happy with that. So how was your week last week, Lewis?
Well, I was just sort of, the thing is, and this is the reason I think I'm always saying I should really keep a journal, because these years whiz past and you've got no record of what you actually did. But now that we've got Google Diary, I can sort of look at just how white and glowing and empty my diary looks. But well, so when do we start from? Like last Monday?
Last Monday, yeah,
Right,
that's
so,
the
yeah,
usual
well,
starting point.
That's what we did. Well, we were away because, again, the weather was so lovely that we went to Berwick and sat and got blown about the beach.
Nice.
We took a picnic and tried to do that thing of, okay, let's just all, lay the table, a little bit of salad. My girlfriend's a chef, so that is really cool. She makes beautiful
handy.
food. And not just a chef, she's a Michelin. She was a Michelin. She worked at La Serre in
My
Paris,
goodness.
chef de partie.
Nice.
So
Wow.
anything that she makes
And you whisked her away to sunny Scotland.
Done to Berwick.
Make me dinner.
Chef's paradise in Berwick. And it was 25 degrees. So we're going to start the week on Sunday, right? So we went and did that, and it was absolutely beautiful. And just got covered in sand and sort of, crunched our way through what we made. Even the apple ties had just lovely little bits of sandy crunch to it. And came back, and Monday was miserable. The weather was exactly the polar opposite from the day before, but we expected that. And I've just been, the thing is, I built a studio, or rather I could have visioned a studio here, and was very lucky to have a friend of mine self-isolate who works with ABBA. And he came up and self-isolated and built the studio last year. So I have this little space, this little tiny corner in my upstairs that I've now got as a fully working studio. So when there's no, I guess, voice jobs in, or any sort of Zoom meetings or gigs, I just tinker about. I've been working quite a lot in Radio 2, doing little songs for Sievewright on the big show, doing Jeremy Vines singing all sorts of crazy stuff. And I think Monday was the Stevie Wonder day, where we the band. Hello, Steve, it's Jeremy Vine. And it was cycling is a world within itself. So these little songs sort of come together. And so there was a bit of that. And
Wonderful.
I'm prepping a couple of things at the minute. So in an attempt to do a bit of writing, which is really difficult, I find. I mean, Alex, you must find, given that this is your chosen profession, do you not find the motivation?
I mean, you say it's my chosen profession. I wanted to be a voice actor initially, and I just kept getting loads of writing little gigs here and there, and I was like, I'll keep my hand in. And now I'm actually a full-time writer for I write learning courses on the side, and it is it's one thing writing for yourself, and it's another thing writing for someone else, and it's a real learning curve. But what I really want to do is act.
Well, see, this year, this is another thing, of course, with the COVID rules, that I got a couple of jobs, and I got a part in Endeavour, which is being edited at the moment, and I think there's going to be some final VO work on that, I think, at some point. And but also got a part in a film, so work did start to come in.
Yeah,
and because I'm known for voice jobs and commercial work and here and there, but it's the Zoom phenomenon has really saved our kind of purse.
Oh yeah,
it's been fantastic.
Completely.
I got the on Monday, sort of, because we're doing Dead Ringers this week of last week, there's also just brushing up on voices, so Tuesday would be that day where I'm sort of getting the emails through from production saying, right, these are the voices that we're thinking about, because ultimately they have to get the thing written. And at what point in the week do you do that? Is it, Tuesday, Wednesday? So sketches that are not so reliant topically that, there might be something that'll come in obviously on Thursday. You kind of have to commit to it, certainly with the football being the way it was last week.
Yeah.
But I also got my second jab. So, yes. Yeah. And so Tuesday was a bit of a day was that the day Scotland were playing? What was the day we got beaten?
I didn't.
Yeah, there was a day last week that got, anyway, I went through, I think it was Tuesday. And I got my second jab. And so sort of had a bit of a bit of a slump on the Tuesday, just because it does hit you. I don't know. Have you had both your jabs yet?
I've only had the first one.
I've had both.
You've had both.
Yeah, we've had both. Yeah.
And did you feel strange after it? How did you feel after?
Well, on the first jab, I felt okay, and then that night I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, shivering, and then I had a panic attack because I was shivering too much and couldn't regulate it, and then just didn't go to sleep till 5:30 the following day.
But you pretty much missed my birthday. Like his jab was just before my birthday, so he was out of action the whole of my birthday. I was having a birthday steak on my own in the kitchen, sitting by myself with my birthday steak. But in February, my first jab was just before his, so I did it to him first.
So, cancelled each other out with.
My second one. My second one is the end of July, so I'm looking forward to see how my body reacts to that one.
Right.
I've heard mixed things. I've heard it's not as bad. I mean, but were you suffering with that one, Lewis?
Well, the second one was. I tried to be funny when I went up we did it in a sports centre, and I walked in and said, "Hello, I'm here for my 23rd jab." Oh, we've got a smart arse. And but I actually didn't feel the thing going in, because as a lot of people do hate needles, I'm one of them, and I sort of rolled my thing up, and it was in and out. I mean, they were fantastic, but
I had that with the first one, just boom, super quick.
Yeah,
mine lingered.
I've seen too many newsreel footages of people just getting thwacked on the side of the arm. I'm thinking, oh no, is that what it's going to be like? But it wasn't like the BCG that I got, which I remember was agony.
Yeah.
I mean, it's done and dusted. It's just the travel implications of it now, because we're planning to go away, and obviously Boris is waiting and giving us the hope that on the 19th of July, this will be the day. But
2022.
2022. Exactly. Oh yes, I got the dates wrong. Oh, balls. Because there is only, it's like cry wolf, isn't it? There's only so many times he's going to be
I know.
able to get the support of everybody. All right then, and it's just going to be had enough. You can feel that already. People are just beginning to go, nah.
Yeah.
Who knows? But it's it's a good thing to have. And but when I went in and got mine, it was almost like I was privy to the news headlines that were going to be 2 weeks later, which was that you'll be getting another one of these in the autumn. Oh right, okay, that's the first I'd ever heard of that.
What?
And yesterday's news headlines on BBC Radio 4 was that this was now being in consultation, that we're going to now have to get one of these every autumn.
Oh, well, I do that with the flu jab. So.
Yeah, I've never had the flu jab. Yeah, I hear it works, but you do feel pretty lousy after you've had it.
I don't remember. I don't remember anything.
It causes amnesia as well.
I have like the worst memory, but it's good because it means that we could watch the same film a multiple amount of times, and I won't remember what's happening. It's a fresh experience each time.
It just goes into your subconscious, and when you go to bed, you're writing screenplays and things and making edits to the film.
No, it's true. I'm a lucid dreamer, so my dreams are amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I'm fascinated with this, you see, because I've only had it, I think, once, and it was absolutely brilliant. I had absolute control of the vista that I was in, and I think from memory, it was like the sound of music, this gorgeous alpine vista, and ahead of me in the distance was a rack-mounted set of synthesizers, like a proper Jean-Michel Jarre.
Nice.
And I remember going over, and there was this guy who I think was a sort of composite of Jean-Michel Jarre. And I remember in the dream sort of playing a little riff on the keyboard, and he just turned to me and goes, "Well, everybody's doing that." I went, "Oh, thanks." It was so, I felt so gutted that the scene, it was like a PlayStation 2 game that just crashed on me. It all just went to shit. The vista disappeared, and I was in a grey room. Here, Anna, get me out of here. It was like a lucid dream reality check. But I remember I've met people that are into all that and astral projection and all that kind of stuff, and it's fascinating that. So can you bring on, Emmy, lucid dreaming sort of wantonly? Then can you do that?
I was reading about it a couple of weeks ago, and apparently for most people who lucid dream, like they might get it a couple of times in their life, or some people get it more regularly. I could do it nightly, every night. Like you could wake me up at any point. I could tell you what I was dreaming about. I could change things that I don't like. So one of my tests to double check that I'm dreaming is if I could fly. So I just jump, like, yep, I'm asleep, and I'll just change the dream if I don't like it.
That's incredible.
Mental.
I've had flying dreams. They're great, aren't they? Can just at will just sort of take off. They're beautiful. But
you see, I don't get that. I just have the ones where you fall over and trip over the curb.
And then wake
yourself up. Yeah, I have those ones. I don't even get off the ground.
You're just like in an old car trying to do 200 miles an hour and you can't. It's like running in a dream is really difficult, I think, as well.
That's why I fly, because I couldn't run. So I thought, right, I'll fly then. And I just focused on how it might look to have all the things moving.
When did you know that you could first do that then?
Probably when I was a teenager.
Right.
And just more and more. I put it down to being an artist. I don't know, because I'm a very creative visual person. So I just assume I still have visions when I'm asleep. But I don't get very good quality of sleep though.
All right.
Because I'm mostly in the dream state.
Because you speak to your parents about things like that, and you go, well, they would say things like, "Don't eat cheese before you go to your bed because that makes you dream." And I'd be thinking, no, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to go into this other world that's kind of fascinating and amazing. That's great. I love that.
Well, I went to a sleep clinic because I don't get good quality of sleep, and there was doing tests and things, and they were saying they would end up putting me on medication, and that will make me have the deep stasis of sleep and less dreams. And I thought, no, I want the dreams. So I stopped going to the sleep clinic because I really enjoy my dreams. I'm the master of napping.
Oh yeah, I can vouch for that. Yeah.
Pretty much every day I'll have a nap and have another exciting little dream.
That's cracking.
A little escape.
I've got friends of mine, I've done it myself. You keep a notepad by the side of the bed, so if you get a funny idea, you get that thing. I remember it was a director said to me once, you get, I think, that mind chatter before you fall asleep. And he said it's like that moment where your imagination sort of starts to disassemble the day. And he says it's at that point you keep the pen and paper by the side of the bed. So if you get a funny idea, it sort of comes to you. I mean, I've had, certainly musically, I've had compositions that I've not heard before that I've thought, if I only had a way of putting that down, I suppose I could record it into a thing. But it's amazing how imaginative it can become.
I remember John Holmes talking about that very same topic about having a thought and writing it down. So he's got a notepad by the side of his bed. And he was saying, and I had this great idea, so I wrote it down and then went back to sleep. And when I looked the next morning, all it said was Milky Arm.
What was that, an anagram or something?
He has no idea what that was about. So, I love that.
Milky Arm, 700 hours. Roger that.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'll be there.
Oh, yeah, of course you will. Now it's time for the feature that I shoehorn into every episode. This feature's intro music was produced after the recording of this podcast. So take it away.
When is Ibiza opening up? 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 I don't think I need my life any more than you need eyes.
I'm very proud of that one. I think that was very good. What did you guys think of the theme music that hasn't been recorded yet?
Oh, I cried.
Yeah, I could see you getting visibly shaken and moved.
It was a special moment. I think time just froze for a second there. We were caught up in just the kind of the beauty of it. Really, it was quite stunning.
Yeah.
I think I'll be dreaming about it.
I think so. I think that if you can get the visuals, there is a video Emmy could be directing here. I think it's an industrial light and magic job, really, or frame store, one of those heavyweights that
expensive.
You know.
Yeah. What did you what did you like about it?
I think that I was told that, was it Kate Robbins, the amazing mimic and songwriter, said that every song has a tonic. There's a tonic to a song, and it's quite complex.
Yes.
But then you've got the root chords. So I'm going to say it was the gin and tonic of the song that really appealed to me.
Fantastic. I didn't realise Kate Robbins wrote Surprise, Surprise, the theme song.
She did, yes.
And when I heard that, I was like, what? And I tweeted her and just said, I've been a fan of yours for years, but what? That's incredible. You are a goddess. And then she followed me back. So that was great.
Oh, well, she's a lovely person, and you should have her on your show.
If she'll do it, I'll definitely have her. Yeah, definitely.
But that's that thing about songs, you know, in writing songs. She told me that, well, there's that song about fifths, you know, that the really. But I spoke to John McLaughlin's a friend, and he writes ballads and things like that. And he says, "Oh, absolutely, fifths are that's the chords for, you know, love songs and sad songs."
Yeah.
You know.
Did you notice any of that in the intro music? Or?
I to be honest, that kind of escaped me. I was more going with the and the
okay.
When is Ibiza opening up?
But that's just maybe horses for courses, really.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Emmy, was there anything you noticed?
Well, there's some things that I picked up on because, as you know, Alex, I'm a kind of a musician of sorts. Like
you are.
That is my bass behind you.
Oh, do you play bass, Emmy?
I play guitar, and I have played bass. That's that one I've inherited quite recently.
Great.
So I've got an ear for picking out sounds, and there was a sound in there which I believe is, you know, when you go to the supermarket and you're slapping the hams.
Oh yes.
And you slap the hams from it. That sound.
And what
is unmistakable.
What's got the best sound? Is it the honey roast, or is it the bargain? You know, the super economy pack. What's got the best resonance?
Well, I'm biased of anything with honey,
right.
So as soon as it says honey on it, that's my favourite thing.
Tombra.
But
Bally shoes.
I've got little hands, so any ham feels kind of good.
Well, that's great. And so, yeah, you've got your own sort of like a Keith Moon sort of kit. What's your favourite supermarket for? What's got the best kit? Morrison's, right.
Oh. Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. The meat selection is very acoustic.
Just a good old long sort of shelf of hams.
Yeah. It doesn't work with slices, does it?
Not so well.
Not with individual slices.
No. Yeah. Not as good. Unless you're slapping the ham with the slice.
You could do that.
Never really done that.
The man behind the counter would be a little bit amused. What's that, son? Why do you want to do that? I just want to slap the hams because I'm learning how to play percussive ham. Right, son. You need to leave right now or I'm getting security. Okay.
I haven't been caught yet.
Right, okay. Well, I think one day you've got to expect that to just show up. And I think it'll be quite a joyful moment when just seeing you going...
I recommend trying it. Next time you're in a supermarket and you see the hams, you're going to think about it.
I'm going to, you know, because you've got that little bit of a gap, you know, there's just a nice little...
Yeah.
Or a large tub of Onken, maybe. Just a little, you know, like a sort of tom-tom. You know.
Yeah. You could just lay various foods out and
hit the foods.
Do your shopping. Yeah, just hit the foods, do a little solo gig.
Tonight.
Nice.
hitting the hams tonight on BBC One. Who's getting through to the semi-final? Well, I'm a bit nervous, Dermot. I mean, I did not bad last week on the Onken, but it's getting a little bit crazy now because you're mixing mains with puddings, and that's always a bit trying for me. Hitting the ham tonight at 9. The final.
I'm looking forward to the Christmas special. It's going to be marvellous.
Oh, the Christmas special.
We got the Christmas
fantastic.
puddings and the
Christmas hams.
Yeah. Who's hitting the turkey before stuffing?
Oh, the leg that they have, is it a pig leg or something? The way you just carve straight from the from the leg they have on display. You could. If that's
you always have to have the. It's a 10-bird roast. Who's going to get the percussion right? I've been watching a lot of Bake Off and those types of programs in some vain attempt to think that I can actually do a bit of, cooking.
Us too. We whenever Bake Off finishes, it feels like there's a hole in our lives, And
then we'll binge through them again.
Yes. But isn't Gogglebox funny?
Do you know, we haven't we need to get into that. We haven't watched too many of them.
You've not watched it? Well, I'm fairly new to it myself, but I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And we sit on the sofa going, I wish they would come. Give us a shot.
Yeah.
Because they are really funny. The people on it, they've learned beats, comic beats, and all that. I think they're really terrific, and it must be a mammoth edit.
Yeah, I bet
as well. I mean,
I bet it is.
Credit to them. It is an amazing edit.
Yeah.
Great show.
We'll have to get into that one because we have got a reality show hole, as I say, in our lives at the moment. Well, I'm glad we did cover some of the music there, so I'm glad that got covered. That's fantastic.
Should I have mentioned a song or something? Should we be talking about an actual conflated melody?
No.
Right.
Oh no. I do have something else to say about the music.
Yeah,
though,
if there's anything else.
Clearly just heard. Is the singer, the vocals of the singer is reminiscent of the country legend Constipated John.
Oh, yes.
Remember him?
I know him.
Constipated John, yes.
There's just a distinct sound of like frustration but earnestness in the voice.
I don't think I need my life any more than you need eyes.
I don't know, Constipated John.
Oh, that's one of my favourite songs of his.
Yeah, that's what that singer sounded like.
Yeah. He sounded like Constipated John.
And that's Constipated John with a brand new single. You stole my arms and gave me them back in the wrong way round.
Nice.
Yeah, you got Constipated John. Constipated John there on 101.1011 FM. Country Hour.
I love it. I
wonder if he would talk the way he sings. Can we move this interview along a little?
No, actually, no, I'm good. You can keep going.
I'm all right. Yeah, it's just a little. It's Kidney Stone.
That's the follow-up album.
Yeah.
It's a high fiber.
Yeah, high fiber.
Yeah, high fiber diet.
Okay.
Passing me by. Try.
Give me a minute.
Give me a minute till I finish my soda. All the things I shouldn't drink. Kidney stone 1 mile long sure makes you ballywell think.
I like how he uses the word ballywell as well.
Well, I think his family wasn't his father an earl.
I think he was. Yes.
He's like, I'm going to send you to America to study. Don't come back,
Jonathan.
What do you mean, Dad? Yeah, before his accent really. Dad, that's really unfair.
Yeah.
Where you're going. Don't come back. So you know how to sing.
He had a hard life.
He still does, yeah. Excellent. So,
Hard life, hard stools.
hard knock life. Yes.
I'm glad you enjoyed it anyway. So, Lewis, Wednesday, what the hell happened that day?
Well, Wednesday, that was quite busy with work. The middle of the week suddenly sprung to life in my day job, if you like, doing voices for people. And so in that regard, I was out of the traps doing a little bit of prep, and then by about midday I was locked in this little sound booth working on a wee commercial job, and then I had to race out the door and help a friend with what we call ADR, automatic dialogue replacement. And it was a little sizzle thing that he's doing, and so I had to become a character, a military character. And then I was back at home, having raced through Glasgow traffic, and was doing a little thing for Channel 4. Which was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So it's a very varied kind of job, but it can sort of hover between acting and doing voice work. Yeah. But some of it does need a little bit of prep. What we've found is the Mac that I use to record on, sometimes the fan comes on. I don't know if it might be on just now if you can hear it, but we found this thermos freezer bag that we can put under it that stops the fan. I think Apple should hire me, frankly, because it's one of those life hack moments for me.
You know, there's guys on talk groups, on focus groups going, like, oh man, I'm doing this edit for my short film, and the fan just keeps coming on. It's driving me crazy.
And then I come to, hello, I'm a Scotsman. Let me help you.
Have you tried frozen peas?
Frozen peas under your Mac? And now, who is this guy? Get this asshole out of here. Sorry, no, let me finish. I won't take up your time. A bag of ice or a thermos freezer box thing. Put that under and that'll stop your fan.
Goodbye.
The Genius Bar. Goodbye. Cheerio now. Sorry to bother you. I did go into the Mac store and ask the guy, because he's going, oh no, but we've actually got this new Mac, which has got the T1 chip. It's really, really clever. And so you don't need the fan. And I'm saying, okay, so how does the heat disperse then, young man? With your acumen. Thrill me with your acumen.
Well, it sort of disperses through the... John, can I ask for some help here?
And he basically conceded after my grilling, and my deep-furrowed, serious face became ever more intense until I was talking like this. Don't lie to me, son. I know there has to be a fan. Tell me how you disperse the heat when you've got Zoom, Final Cut, Clean Feed, and every other program running.
Well, actually, it just slows down the software.
Ah, right, okay. So in order to keep the thing cool, it just basically makes everything go really slowly. I said, well, bring back a fan. We need a fan then.
That's what I love about my computer is when it goes slow. That's
Hello.
when it works best is when it slows down.
Oh, completely. Yeah, I was doing editing on the Mac, and it turns out it needed an update. I didn't realise that, but I realised it after trying to move one piece of audio into the editing software and it taking an hour to actually do anything. So, yeah, I mean, there's going slow and then there's grinding to a halt. Mm-hmm. It's horrible.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the trade-off, isn't it? But, well, there is a cure. If you hire me, I will be able to cool your Mac down to Arctic conditions, albeit for only 20 minutes, and then you're on your own. But that 20 minutes could be the icing on the cake. Thanks for phoning.
That'll do it.
It's like one of those hacks, isn't it? Like blowing on a games cartridge back in the 90s. It's the same sort of hack, I think.
I've got actually. Funny you should say that, you see, because, being older than you, both combined, no doubt. We had the Commodore VIC-20 and the Commodore 64, which only had 3K RAM, which is kind of amazing. And the comedian Simon Munnery, who is a bit of a hero of mine because he wrote a game called Cosmades, which was like Space Invaders for the unexpanded VIC-20. Now, just to give you an idea, that's 3,500 kilobytes, which is like a photograph on your phone.
Shocking.
And I've got them here actually.
Oh,
so this one, I don't know if you can see this. It's called Jelly Monsters.
Look at that.
Now, Jelly Monsters is that. Now, this is the. So that's, believe me, a genuine VIC-20 cartridge, and that was the best Pac-Man rip-off. I mean, it was really so much better than the actual game Pac-Man.
No,
so there's a burgeoning market on eBay for all this kind of stuff. People just,
No, I'm actually, I'm probably older than you think I am, because the first computer I had was a VIC-20 as well.
Oh, really?
I had an Amstrad. We've actually, I think it's in the room with
Alex.
Alex.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, the CPC 464?
Yep. That's the fella.
Awesome. Yep. Yes. Well, I think they're kind of beautiful works of art, really. You know, they're kind of amazing.
Completely. So I had a habit of backing the wrong horse, though, during my gaming lifetime, because I had a VIC-20, then I had a Spectrum, then a Z64, but then I started like branching out to the Philips CDI, the Atari Jaguar, the Dreamcast, anything that failed. Anything that failed, I had it.
Didn't you have an N-Gage when we met?
Oh, wow.
Yes, I did have an N-Gage.
Yes. I did the ads for Dreamcast, and I remember the strapline was Dreamcast, up to 6 billion players. You know, that was the first sort of salvo into the world of...
Probably say that about any game, couldn't you? I could release a game that 3 people play, and there's up to 6 billion players.
Up to 6 billion people on planet Earth.
John, I don't think this has got anything to do with the Dreamcast.
Want it on my ad. Yeah, but then because I got the Amiga was really good, the 500, so it was the 64, then it was, there was a hiatus, and then in my 20s sort of come back and revisit my childhood with a fully updated bells and whistles, and I think I played it about 4 times and got bored.
And now you just do the voices in them.
Yes, I've done so many voices on games, you know. I've done loads.
I know.
I've probably heard you a lot and not known.
Yeah, well, I'm usually sort of Henchman 4, Thug 9. I've been a talking door on Fable. I was the doors in Fable. And
I would have heard you then.
Captain Haddock, Tintin. Lots of villains in Bond films. I always enjoyed them. Mr. Bond.
It's great. Yeah, because I was playing, I've got to get the Planet Coaster, I think it is.
Oh, yes. Sim Coaster World. And I was the
that's the one. Yeah, I was playing that, and I went, I'm sure that's Lewis.
Well, there's a lot of kind of doubling up, which I discovered when I went to my first convention, because being in Star Wars, people think that was part of my life for the last 20
I didn't
years.
want to bring Star Wars up, but yeah, that's fine. Now you have done.
I've only done 8 of them. I've only been to 8 conventions, and they're a laugh.
I thought you've only done 8 films then.
Yeah, he's not been in very much. But there's, I did go to my first convention thinking, why is there 4 Chewbaccas and things like that? That was always the surprise. But I was one of the Optimus Primes, which I was kind of chuffed to get.
Oh, nice.
They're the Optimus Prime. They're great fun, and those guys that do it in America, they're kind of amazing. They're big personalities, and they've all got great sort of voices for that. You know,
I've been wanting to be a voice actor since I was a little kid, and it's been like a dream of mine to do it. And so I know all the people like Rob Paulson and the Billy West and.
Billy West, good.
Oh, he's incredible. And I met him at a convention, and it was just an incredible moment.
Little face when you saw
I know.
him.
I lit up so badly. But I still get that kind of. I'm just in awe at a lot of them. I really am. We celebrated Mel Blanc's birthday a few weeks ago, and Jan Ravens and I went on Paul Coya's show and talked about him. And it was Jan that actually said that a laryngoscopy, what do you call them? A laryngeal a doctor of the larynx. I can't even say the word. The laryngeal part of your body, your throat. You know the bit that makes the sound. Oh yes.
He said that he had the vocal folds similar to Caruso. And so he hadn't seen this quite a unique sort of set of pipes, and he was a smoker as well. He smoked right up until he died. And it's a funny thing as well. It's difficult. I think it's difficult to teach him. My friend Peter Dixon, who's very good, he runs the Gravy for the Brain and teaches you how to really understand how it all works. And But I've always found it very difficult. You know, you're getting directions and they're saying, okay, now put the voice at the back of the throat, let's turn it a little bit to the left and then move it over to the other side. You know, either you feel the thing or you don't, you know, and I think mimicry is, that's what I love about Ringers is you go on Dead Ringers and we have a table read, we all sort of audition for it and with a little bit of prep, but actually all of us on Ringers were quite fast at getting voices now. I think when you think before YouTube, we didn't have any way of sourcing them. We would have LPs. There was a company called Cademon that used to make LPs, double albums of just very short 30-40 second clips of Bernard Shaw, or you know, or you'd have, or you know, what's his name, Orson Welles doing some reading, and it was brilliant. And that's how we learned voices. Or we'd have video recorders. I'd be phoning my mum, get that film tape, I'm going to take that film, and okay, and she'd record it. And I remember days with Ronnie Ancona in the 90s, even as, you know, as fairly recent as sort of 1997, 98, I was walking around rooms with little portable cassette recordings of playing back voices, whereas now it's just YouTube, getting deliveries of CDs.
I've seen it myself. When we did Jeremy Vine Agony Uncle, you had Jeremy Vine talking to Danny Dyer, and you literally just went, you literally just got it up on the phone and went, yeah, he sounds like that. And you just did it. And I went, wow.
Well, I love doing Jeremy. Wow. He's a terrific fella, Jeremy. He really is. And such a good sport. And that voice was just, it sort of came by accident. But you can always, I just think that with some voices like Trump, when I was doing Trump, I sounded probably more like Alec Baldwin and Glengarry Glen Ross, because he wasn't really, you know, he was just that billionaire that everybody knew in America. And so when we did him, I sort of did him like this. You know, which, you know, it's, you know, set him up there.
And it was only when he sat down with Barbara Walters and she went, Donald, when did you know that you could? I just knew I was the only guy for the job, Barbara. You know, and then I thought, well, if he wins this is the guy we're going to hear, is this softly spoken chap that's going to be, you know, driving us all nuts. But, yeah, so some come easier than others. You kind of pick them up by just leavening them over time. Like Jeremy's voice at the moment, I've noticed that he's doing this thing where so any word that ends in an S, and he'll say, okay, well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on. Thanks. He does this. It's like he's got a little valve somewhere that he just twists on his leg.
Slowly deflating.
Sorry, I was overinflating there. I was beginning to lift off my seat. Okay, here's Africa. Bye, Jojo.
I love it. I love it.
Alex, what day of the week are we on?
We are on Thursday next.
Okay.
Well, this is Dead Ringers Day. Yeah. But before that, I was doing a voiceover. And it was for, it says here, I love this channel. It's called Really?
Really?
Oh, really?
The channel's called Really? And it was for obsessive compulsive cleaners.
Really?
See, I'll sell anything, me. You know, I'm a vocal whore. But yes, tonight, obsessive compulsive cleaners. Yeah, that kind of voice. And actually, we did some funny stuff on that. But so it's, and much of, again, these kind of jobs is sound-aliking people. I mean, it really is bizarre. You get the chance to sound like Hollywood stars. You actually get to overdub them, bizarrely, for trailers and things. And sometimes if they want a scratch record, they call it, you know, you get in and you'll record, somebody like Liam Neeson or somebody like that and do the voice. I don't know who you are. I usually just do that, actually, if I get a phone call from, somebody wanting to sell me something, or one of those phone calls, press 1, your number. Yeah. Please press 1 now. I
mean, I wasn't going to do it, but there's not many impressions I can do. I used to do loads when I was a kid, but I've found mine are quite obscure. So if ever Matthew Broderick needs to be,
that's good, because I love a bit of that. That's great. There's voices that.
Well, I found out I could do Matthew Broderick when I was just talking like this one day, and that's all it is.
That's good.
It's not bad, is it? It's not bad.
Obscure voices, right? That's
Broadway producer.
Yeah, I want to be a Broadway producer.
That's great. He does sound young, doesn't he? He's like, what is he? He must be 60
always
now,
young. So young.
So let me just...
Why are you still here?
Well, I think the voices for my one at the moment that I'm enjoying doing is Andrew Neil. The voice is always changing, and why is nobody sponsoring us? But well, there's that, and Kirsty Warwick. Thank you so much. Kirsty Warwick is really Kirsty. And Jan Ravens does the best Kirsty Warwick you will ever hear. Now, but the thing that I noticed about Kirsty Warwick was like, obviously it's very silly. I'm a bloke doing Kirsty Warwick's voice. But what I was saying was quite funny is you don't actually know what she's saying until she puts her glasses on. And that always happens at the end of the paragraph. She's here, of course, in the government, 35,000 people. And of course, the policy will need to be looked at. I even, somebody like, film directors, I went through that thing of doing film directors. So, it's a wonderful, Spielberg is a difficult, process. So I said to George. But they're all film directors have got great personas, and they're eminently fascinating to listen to. I think I'm the only person that does Martin Scorsese. I've not heard anybody do his voice. And for just from if you want to see the future of filmmaking, you got to go to the ranch. And
spot on,
thank you. But I noticed I'd written that Werner Herzog, and I'd need to hear him.
Oh,
but he's got a great voice, and I absolutely know this, that there's nobody that I've met that can impersonate a speak and spell toy from the 1980s. Listeners, look it up. It was one of the biggest Christmas presents you would want, back in 80 to through 83, 4.
Yeah, I can picture the noise.
Yes, well, it would go.
F spells growth.
That's
S correct.
And if you got it wrong,
S does not spell road.
That is probably my favourite.
Oh, you need to get Beardy Man on.
Oh yeah, his Siri.
Goodness.
I know he's not as good as the actual voice, but I
phenomenal.
I do love. There's a collection of videos of him with Peter Serafinowicz as Brian Butterfield.
I've heard it.
Yeah, it's amazing. He says, "I'm sorry, Brian. I don't know that." It's incredible.
Because didn't he get him on? He had his Radio 6 show. He got him on his show.
Yeah.
I think Pete was doing a show for
Siri.
Radio 6. And I think he even got Terence Stamp on, who's great.
But there's
Terence Stamp.
There's a line from that goes through my head quite a lot, where it just goes, "Oh, technology." And it's just, I just think about that a lot.
I used to be able to do, because it kind of grew up with me, that voice, so it started speak and spell. To then it became Stephen Hawking.
Of course.
There's nothing like Stephen Hawking. But it sort of works if you can't really remember. It's probably Stephen Hawking, the very early, vocal chip from about 1977 or something like that. Not like now, where these things are just fantastic. They sound more human than human. But I used to have a lot of fun with it at school, and doing, sort of talking over myself like that, and really winding up people, particularly audio engineers. I've seen them.
Lewis, could you do what's happened there? There's a noise coming through your microphone.
Really? I can't hear it. I'm sorry. But yeah, rare voices, keep that up. That's great, because you don't really want to be doing voices that everybody else does. It's always good practice to get one or two that kind of, maybe not great for a live show. They're going, "Who's that?"
Yeah. Sometimes I do have to take a run up at them. That's it.
Well, that's an excellent Matthew Broderick. Emmy, can you do any voices?
I do noises more than I do voices.
Right.
I'm quite obnoxious. Alex gets to hear any noise that comes into my head at any point. I think I have ADHD, so if I just have little outbursts and things. I think Pingu is one of my noises. That it's probably the only accurate one I can do. It. Oh, it'd be quite loud on the mic. Something like that.
Very good. So you could dep for Pingu.
Maybe one day I could be Pingu.
I depped for Pingu tonight at 9 on BBC One.
And I did stumble across the SpongeBob SquarePants when I was trying to do D'Artagnan from the Muskehounds. But yeah.
That's how you tried to impress me when we first met, was with your cartoon
My
voices.
SpongeBob
and
SquarePants.
was
Oh,
one of them.
yes.
Oh, that's good. Yes.
Hey, Patrick.
I can hear. That's very good. Yeah, I remember. I remember doing this for my Star Wars audition. All the Star Wars noises that I could do.
Oh, lovely.
Where I was, I was doing I did the TIE fighter. She must have covered her face in phlegm, but it was and then
Yeah.
I was like, very, very embarrassed. And I remember just holding the mic in front of me like, this is the woman that cast Forrest Gump, for crying out loud. There's a guy sitting less than 30 centimetres away from her, spitting on her, going,
Can you just read the lines?
You are the most bizarre man I've ever met. Can't wait to play this to George.
I was like, yeah. Biggest audition of my life, and that I'm never going to hear from you again. Yeah. And 3 weeks later, I broke the sofa when they phoned me up.
I bet.
I remember jumping up and down in my sofa, and it went cling.
I presume they did Sebulba figures.
Oh, aye.
I presume you have them all.
Not them all, but I've got a few bits. I remember I got a lovely letter from a woman called Lynn Hale, and it said, it's a beautiful, American, it's a different A4 they've got. It's a kind of more squat, thicker cartridge paper embossed all over the place. And it said, from the desk of George Lucas. And I was, oh, hello. Dear Lewis, thank you for your work on Phantom Menace. Please find enclosed at George's request 2 collectible programs that essentially are just a pictorial of the Phantom Menace, celebrating it. It's about A3 size, and it had this gold embossed thing on it, number 181 of 200. It was something like that. And my wee nephew, he was only about 3 at the time, had them lying out, and he went, "What's this, Uncle?"
Oh.
Luckily, I had 2, so I gave him that one, and I kept the other one. Otherwise, that was getting opened very quickly as well. Man. But yeah, I've kept a few bits, but no, it's like when I was a kid, I had pretty much every Star Wars figure going. I used to make sets. I used to cut, 2-liter bottles of lemonade and make little Yoda huts with paper mache. And I felt, I think it was my mother said, the amount of money, of course, they spent on these toys back then when we were kids. It was kind of wonderful to get a part in the film, because then it's like, you feel like you've justified all that time and effort.
Oh, yeah,
you've
completely.
put in this,
yeah.
Getting lost in that world.
Yeah. And, you're immortalized, really, to be honest.
Well, the character was, it was a bit like Jabba the Hutt. And I unfortunately made what was that saying? You made a rod for your own back. You kind of, I decided to do his voice, Chuba. But then there's all these sequences where he's in this pod thing racing around, and he's okay. I need. He gave me the third way as well as in direction. You probably heard Harrison Ford saying, "You can type this shit, George, but you sure as hell can't say it."
Yes.
And but he would say,
faster, more intense.
And with me, he said,
faster, more intense, and a little angrier.
So I thought, But I couldn't do it because I'd created this voice where I was talking like this. But we kind of worked around it, but it took a bit of toing and froing. So, George, what do you think if I do this? And he would go away and he would speak to his engineer. And
yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, okay.
Thank God.
No, try that.
I know. Yeah, I know. Because hey, somebody comes in behind another door. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, but that's all for today. What? Oh, so that's it? Yeah, thank you so much. We won't be needing your services any longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great. It was when you could smoke in voiceover booths as well. I seem to remember.
Handy for that voice, so much.
The engineer.
Take 3. People, the old engineers smoking like that. Take 3.
No.
Change days now, of course.
Yeah, of course. So, Thursday. What happened
Thursday,
then?
yes. So that was the morning, and then it was Dead Ringers read through at 11 o'clock,
yes.
which is an amazing experience because for the last year and a half, we've all been on Zoom, and given the technological marvel of the BBC, they have managed, and I know a little bit about it. I mean, they've got, there's about 1,000 people, you know this yourself, there's 1,000 people who come on a Zoom call when it's a show like that, if, you know, Radio 4, but they've really mastered the sound of it so that they can crunch it down by whatever means, and using 850 or so tracks, crunch it down so it sounds like you're at the radio theatre. So it doesn't really sound that different than it would if you were in the room. I mean, you can tell a bit, but to have 850 tracks independently of each other is kind of amazing. And so we get this read through. That's when we again, there's always thanks to Zoom, there's very little latency now, where you read the sketch and you get all your comic beats in and all the funnies done, and it's not eggy, and sometimes the line will drop out, but very occasionally. And we read the script, and then we reconvene about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, do a little tech run, and then we make changes if there are any. And I've been on Zoom because I'm in Scotland, but it sort of works because the great thing about hearing a Zoom audience of about 1,000 is that if they particularly like a voice that you've done, you'll hear them going, "Oh, that was rather good, wasn't it?" you'll hear them laughing, and then you'll hear this, "Oh, that was funny, wasn't it?" Or the opposite.
"That was terrible, Miriam. Get the 6 o'clock news on. This is shite."
Instant feedback.
So you do, and so these poor guys in Elstree or whatever it is, the engineers that are going, they're trying to save your blushes, but they've got 850 people to go through before they find that person. So it could be quite a task, but we've been really lucky. The audiences are fantastic that we get. They love the show. They love the repetition of it. I mean, there was one that we did, which John Culshaw, who's phenomenal, just had me folded up. He did Michael Portillo, and he did this. It was an Andrew Neil GB sketch that ultimately led into bringing on Diane Abbott, and which is where we can't see her name without going, "And joining me on the sofa, Diane Abbott." But he's in introducing himself as Portillo, he said, "I'm wearing a special pair of slacks that are for you, Andrew, that I call overcooked prawn." And then I came in with Andrew Neil. "Well, thank you so much there. We've got the chance." Couldn't speak. I was almost on the floor. It was very funny.
Love it.
And it's terribly unprofessional, but the audience absolutely loved it. You could just hear this noise of laughter. It was great. And I thought, here I am. I mean, it's an amazing thing, I've been in this little booth working. I got cast in a movie in this room doing an audition on Zoom with Stephen Frears. It's extraordinary. And it'll probably never happen again in the experience. But it has, the wonderful thing for me about Zoom is that it won't go away. It can only improve. And with that, people like us in the creative industries can modify our, input, and we can build a green room, or we can do other stuff. I mean, I was working with a company called Frame Store last summer, and we did some deep fake Donald Trump, Boris Johnson, and I was doing the Prime Minister, and we tested it in the house. The weather was rotten up here. It was raining, and the guys in London are going, "No problem, Lewis. What phone have you got?" And I said, "Well, I've got an iPhone 11, and it could film in 4K. So we did that. Within about 2 hours, I got this video back of me as Boris Johnson. It was incredible. And I was thinking, I'm in my own house here. This is, normally you'd be rocking up at a studio to do this. So the possibilities are limitless, and it's exciting.
I agree. Is there a certain thing, because I haven't done much voice work, but the stuff I have done, I did things for Audible, and you go into the studio and it's all very exciting. And I found working from home to be a lot less glamorous, for one thing, because when I did Cold Case Crime Cuts, John Holmes's thing, I had to be under a duvet.
Well, that duvet.
Yeah, the one behind. And so literally I just threw this duvet over myself, and so everyone
DFS voiceover duvets down 20%.
That'd be incredible.
Slide down your banister and get down to DFS for the voiceover duvet sensational summer sale.
It's just not as glamorous, when you just, the top is, falling on you, and you're just trying to read the lines, and you can see yourself on the video.
But it does work. I mean, I've got friends. I've got a friend of mine who went to Italy and took his mic and his Mac and set it up in his car when he was in, Umbria and went up a hill and was, 90 degrees outside, and he's in a Volvo
it is
doing a voiceover.
Possible. It's completely possible. I agree, but for me, it kind of lost a little bit of its charm. So it didn't help that I had a pug that was trying to get under the duvet with me at one certain point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a bit of a pain. But it's certainly doable, and I'm glad that you're still able to do it. And Dead Ringers is. It's an institution, isn't it? It's been going for ages. So.
I love it. I love every second of it, and it's an exciting show as well, because for us it's always a surprise. What's the show going to manifest? What are we going to hear? And it's an amazing job. Bill Dare, the creator and producer and writer of it, has some job, because the recordings, they last about an hour and 5-10 minutes, and I think for the people that have been lucky enough to get to see how a show like this is built, it must be fascinating, but friends of mine that have come to see it, they've always said that they equally enjoy the show recording itself, probably because of the mistakes and the sort of the banter back and forward and the chat, but it's just such a great thing to read. And that's that working it off the Mac. Normally I'm holding that BBC script, which in itself is a marvel. It's had decades of refinement, this beautifully paginated, typed up piece of work that you can edit, and we miss that, but it's changing, and we'll probably all be using iPads or tablets, soon. But I do love just holding the script to be able to read it off in front of the audience. But equally, I've really adapted to getting, because you've got maybe 4 or 5 screens open. I'm recording locally. I'm using Final Cut. I've got clean feed. I've got the script up. I've got the versions, the changes to it, and so it's quite exciting. You're kind of it's very kinetic. You're working around. You're almost doing technical media,
doing more. With all the editing and stuff, and like focusing and doing your own computer.
You do get to focus on the voice or the impression a lot more, because we don't have headphones like I'm wearing now. You don't have that when you're doing the show live. You've just got to kind of trust that what you're doing is going to connect with the audience, and hopefully it does. But you do get that extra dimension when you're doing it at home or you're doing it locally with the Zoom, that you can spend a little bit more on the voice, which I think is appreciated by the audience.
Yeah, I love it. So Friday. Tell us about Friday. We're getting there.
Right. 9 a.m., early start, up bright and early, because we've got 2 cats, pretty much missed that for all the days. They come in at 6:30 in the morning and just run all over our faces and go, get up. With 2 cats, Tofu and Spooky, they do that. This was a promo for Discovery. So I'm doing men in motors, fast and loud and crazy petrol, before it's all silent and electric. They're getting numpties like me in to go, tonight, diesel, the last days of diesel. So that was that. And then I was working on from what a polemic this is. You kind of go from, a fun VO to Radio 4 drama about the Nuremberg trials. So my day really did take a vault face in tone, and it was horrible. But Jonathan Meyerson, who's written this extraordinary dramatization of the actual trial, he came up with this sort of 16-ep breakdown of what actually happened. And it's got, there's a stack of actors in there all playing different parts that actually were the persons involved in the trial. And then they got me to come in and sort of do the somber tone of what the show would be about, credits and various things like that. It's a funny thing, because you learn subjects. I used to say I quite enjoyed narrating documentaries, because you're learning a subject that you're getting paid for. But I used to love doing them, those Discoveries and Nat Geo documentaries. There was one that we did called Flying Wild Alaska, and it was the only airline, Air Alaska, and had this family that were basically flying around Alaska, dropping off shopping for people. And but the family were hugely entertaining, and what we found was that neighbours that lived maybe 50 miles apart, that they would be on their drop as they flew past and took off, landing on tundra.
Wow.
Hated each other, these neighbours. And, when the neighbour would come out, he's not seen a person for months. And his nearest neighbour's 50 miles away. He goes, "Is he still driving that goddamn Chevrolet?" Things like that. But the tone of a narration, it was completely different to what we did on Friday, because it was pretty tough, because you're hearing firsthand testimony. So the tone was a process of just getting it right for the director, because it's tricky, very tricky, because you're not selling anything if you're just
giving information almost.
It is, and it's imparting it with, well, I don't know even what it's just it was quite an exhausting experience emotionally.
Yeah, trying to get that twinkle out of your eye as you're doing it, I imagine.
You can't, there's no way you're not going to do that, because it's the subject. But that, again, that's the job. You've got to try and you've got to meet the challenge. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to hearing it going out, because I've watched documentary around I do a lot of work for the services for hosting events and things like that, and I'm always tuning into shows like that to sort of to learn something,
Yeah,
so to get the chance to do a show like this was
I love it.
Was fascinating.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
I bet.
And scary and horrible and
yeah. What about the weekend? Was that more fun?
Yes, it was, because we well, there was a bit of running around in the morning, and then we went through to my brother's because he turned 60 on the 15th, but we went over. It wasn't a big thing. There was only a few people there, but we went through to Linlithgow and sort of wished him a happy birthday.
Nice.
And then we were into Sunday, but it was and the weather held up, which was nice. It was warm and but not too sunny, but just nice.
That's good.
And he served us at the biggest steak I've ever seen in my life. I don't know where he got them.
That's Emmy's weakness, apart from slapping hams. It is
lovely
steak,
this one was
honey, not together, but yeah.
Steak, honey, and ham.
Yeah, but ham I just slap.
Hammer time.
But yeah, Emmy is a steak connoisseur. It's got to be said.
I do love my steak.
Yeah.
Alex doesn't like steak.
I don't.
Which is...
I don't like steak.
Yeah, might be grounds for divorce one day.
Maybe. But I'm glad you had a nice weekend. And
you just hit him with one like Grace Jones did, didn't she?
Oh yes.
Oh no, it wasn't Grace Jones. It was what's her name that was married to Sylvester Stallone?
Oh, Bridget Nielsen.
Bridget Nielsen. Yeah. Did she know thwack Dolph Lundgren with a steak?
Possibly. Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah, I think it was her.
That sounds about right. Sounds like the sort of thing she'd do.
Like a tomahawk steak where you have the huge bone still in it.
Imagine.
That'd be lethal.
I can't believe you said that about Grace Jones. She would never do that.
She never slapped someone with a steak.
She just slapped...
Best pop song of the 80s, Slave to the Rhythm.
Oh, tell me about it. It's a great tune. It's a fantastic tune.
I know the guy that wrote it as well, Bruce Woolley. He's a genius.
He is.
He's a thereminist, and he wrote "Slave to the Rhythm" next to it.
On the theremin?
No, he didn't. I actually don't know. But I did see the stems of the song. You know, another word that they use for when they explode a song. The stems, and again, it was just like there's about 90 tracks going on in this wonderful song.
I can believe it. Yeah, I can believe it. That is a great tune. That about rounds it up. Lewis, if you had to rate your week on a scale of up to whatever, if you had to rate, good Lord, if you had to rate your week,
just keep it in. It's more real.
If you had to rate your week, if you had to rate your week on a scale of up to whatever, what would you rate last week in total?
I would say whatever %.
Okay.
I think whatever %. It was a good week. It was, it was every day's different.
Yes.
But it was a varied, fascinating. It was emotionally quite a journey as well. Certainly towards the end of the week, with, as I've just said, the demands of trying to, I don't know, impart information that's sad and horrible.
Yeah, the week seemed to it was fun, jovial, and then
there was huge gales of laughter, and I get huge satisfaction out of the Dead Ringers. It's funny actually that Dead Ringers, listening to Dead Ringers go out on Friday was what we did. So we're there, and then there's the footy as well, which has been exciting, and it's been exciting watching Scotland do quite well, and who knows what the result is even right now, because Scotland are actually playing right now.
Oh.
So I'm Sky Plusing that and trying to
say that's a good point. I didn't realise that.
But it's the thing is, Dead Ringers, when the series is on, and is such a highlight of my week, because it just makes people happy, and it's been a really wonderful experience. I've been with the team on and off from 2000, I think, but then I became a permanent member of the team in 2013, I think it was. But it's just been such a great thing, to listen to. I really love it, and I think if you didn't even know that much politically, you would still enjoy.
It's a fun program, isn't it? It's a
burst of comedy that
it is a fun show, and long may it continue. I would say so.
Here.
Is there anything you would like to plug? I know you mentioned Dead Ringers a lot, but is there anything else?
Well, not really. No, I'm just grateful for any job I get. So anything I'm working on, Dead Ringers, yes. I can't think of anything actually.
That's cool. So that about rounds it off. Thank you so much, Lewis, for coming on and doing this. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me on. I hope it works.
So do I. And Emmy, anything to add?
I just would like to encourage people to go out there and slap some hams.
Slap some hams. Tomahawk steaks are always good if you encounter any imperial entanglements at the ham stand. And the ham stands are good for you. And throw some more tomahawk steaks across Morrison's. I think it's always good to do a bit of that, and then just run out the door and
then be on to the next one.
Absolutely. My thanks to Emmy Webber. My thanks to Lewis Macleod. Emmy, thank you so much for stepping in last minute. I've been Alex Sievewright, and that was the week that was. Was it? Normally Kate says was it there, but she hasn't.
Oh,
she's not
sorry,
here.
you didn't tell me that.
That's fine, don't worry. Normally Kate does it, it's fine. We'll talk about this later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
The new ham drum kit is now available with flavors such as honey roast ham, mustard, and plain. Slap those piggy skins and get the whole store talking. The ham drum kit, available in all good superstores now.